College hoop now, Jelani McCoy, who missed the first part of the season, serving what was believed to be a drug-related suspension, is apparently in trouble again, but UCLA isn't saying why. Bruin coach Steve Lavin says he can't address McCoy's status because of federal laws, state laws, university policies, things I'd have to go back to my government history classes to fully understand, says Lavin. Basketball 101 lets you understand your best post player can be useful against a pair of 7-footers, which is what Washington had in facing the Bruins. But Lavin only gave McCoy 19 minutes of time. He really didn't need him because Chris Johnson was stroking. 16 in the first half for Johnson. Now UCLA on the break. Kobe Bailey knifing through the defense and throwing it down. One more time, and it's low. That's slow-mo, that's getting it done. UCLA 52-34 at the break. Second half, the Bruins go up by as many as 30. J.R. Henderson, the Earl Watson pass. Earl Watson handing out dimes like he had a pocket full of them. Washington would rally. Dion Luton to the cup. He had 18. And then do it for Slick. Slick Watts kid, Donald Watts. He had 15 on the night. UCLA's lead is cut to 10, but here comes Watson again. High handoff, Bailey. Thank you very much. 11 assists for Watson, 22 points for Bailey. And UCLA cruises 105-94. The Bruins have sole possession of third place in the Pac-10 now. Chris Johnson added 10 points to those 16 he got in the first half. Bailey had a career-high 11 assists. Watson's 11 dimes, a career-high. And McCoy, I mentioned him, he did get some run, 19 minutes, and still turned in 16 points and 10 rebounds. Stanford trying to bounce back from an Arizona loss, taking on Arizona State. A couple of bills. Bill Walsh, Bill Bradley, perhaps discussing political strategy. Stanford down by 3 under 25 seconds to go. Ryan Mendez stroking. He had 11 and was tied at 76. Same score now at Maple Pavilion. Arizona State trying to come up with the win. Jeremy Beal the drive. Tim Young the rebound. Clock at 0. We're going to overtime. Beal did have 18 in regulation, and in overtime, Beal would continue to feel it. Arizona State up by 2. Beal, see the 3, be the 3. 9 in overtime. Arizona State up by 5. Seconds left in OT. Stanford down 4. Arthur Lee. 4-3. 13 points for him. Stanford down by a point. Bobby Laser immediately. A long pass to Beal. Intentional foul is called on Mendez. Beal hits a pair from the line. He finished up with 27, and the Sun Devils salute as Arizona State pulls the upset. Stanford's lost 2 in a row, 90-87 the final. Sun Devils a very thin team. They wore down earlier this season against Kansas late in the game. This time played just 6 guys, but able to get it done and snapped a 14-game losing streak against ranked teams. Sun Devils shot 50% from the floor and held the Cardinal to 41% shooting. Tim Young had 24 for Stanford. Mark Madsen played for the first time in a month, and he had 10.
The last 2 times that Vince Carter, Shammond Williams, and Antawn Jamison came to Joel Coliseum, they skulked back to Chapel Hill, having been pounded by 24 both times. Now as juniors, it was time for Dean Smith's protege, Bill Guthridge, to give it a go. And this time, there'd be no Tim Duncan waiting in Winston-Salem. Perhaps things would be different. Tar Heels going up against Robert O'Kelly, who's denied. Vince Carter blocks the freshman. Down court, Williams feeds Adamala Akalaja. He got the foul. Carolina up 4 early, and then O'Kelly did everything. Banging away from outside, he hits the 3. Find the freshman at the top of the key. He's got that one. Williams comes out on him. Kelly's still going to hit that. He had 6 threes in the first half. His mom was on her feet. 20 of his 25 points came by halftime. Wake led by as many as 17. Carolina comes back in a big way. Ahead of the pack, it's Vince Carter. Got slammed, but still got it home. Carter finished with 10. His team's within 5. Ed Cota out front, the block. Then gets it ahead to Antawn Jamison for the slam. Jamison had 21. Carolina on a 30-6 run gets the lead. Gets Williams out on the break. He'd go to the floor hard, but he'd be all right. And it's a lot easier to recover when you've come back from a 17-point deficit to remain with just 1 loss in the ACC. Carolina will host #1 Duke Thursday on ESPN2. Wake now 3-2 without Lauren Woods, who has been cleared to practice come Monday. But it will be on an individual basis. There's no timetable as to when, if at all, the Deacons 7-footer will return. Gamble Pavilion, 8th ranked UConn hosting Rutgers in the Big East. Kevin Freeman, nice feed to Ricky Moore to Rashamel Jones. Oh, great passing by the Huskies. They build a double-figure lead on Rutgers. Ricky Moore couldn't find anyone, so he launches a 3. By halftime, it's a 15-point spread. Second half, UConn look away. Richard Hamilton to Kevin Freeman. And they win it in a breeze, 73-56. UConn did it with defense as well. Jeff Billett, the night's leading scorer, held to 1 point and 0 for 9 shooting. The Huskies now 9-2 in their half of the Big East. A game up on Idle, West Virginia, a game and a half on St. John's. Michigan State. Should have been a blowout. The Spartans are in the rankings, but they're only up by a point. Mateen Cleaves tries to change that. It's his 4th three-pointer of the game, showing off for his mother. Cleaves feeling it. Got another 3. A little calmer this time. He's beginning to expect it from Mateen. But Sean Wink gets smothered to throw up her arms. Mateen has got to do it for Mom. High off the glass, sending it to overtime in Evanston. In OT, Cleaves hits the last of his 6 three-pointers. He gets 23 of his 34 points in overtime. Not a lot of friendly faces on the road for the Spartans, but Mom found a few. And Michigan State, behind Cleaves' best game of his career, gets a 72-66 win. It's their 6th straight, leaving them alone atop the Big Ten. 8-1 matches the school's best ever conference start. The Wildcats come that close to beating a ranked team for the first time in 4 years.
Here is Arizona and Cal. The Wildcats, of course, coming off that big win over Stanford. Mike Bibby getting it done. Bibby 10 in the first half, Zona up by 9. Ben Braun's crew, though, would keep it close. Thomas Kilgore getting in there, knocking down the leaner. Cal down by just 5 at the break. But then here comes Zona. Going inside, these are the guys Lute Olson says does not get enough credit. Bennett Davison. Nice move inside, Zona by 6. Arizona pulling away. Bibby. Good look into Davison again. Zona by 9. And here comes the catastrophe defense. Stickers into Bibby. Bibby up and over. Arizona cruises over Cal by a final count of 70-57. Bibby 16 points to go with those 26 he knocked down in the win over Stanford as the Cats complete the first half of their conference schedule with a perfect 9-0 mark. Arizona has won 12 in a row. The teams have split the series in each of the last 5 seasons. Off to the ACC now. Clemson, NC State, 1.8 left. Wolfpack down by 2. C.C. Harrison. That play never worked, but now it does. Missed a free throw on purpose. Got some rim. Wolfpack happy about it, but check it out again. CC's over the line before the ball hits the rim. The shooter cannot do that, and Rick Barnes had himself a beef, but it counted anyway, and we go to overtime. You got to get a fanny on the shooter there. 7 seconds now left in overtime. Clemson up by 1, and here is CC. It was his kind of day. Stroking the 3 with 0.2 seconds left. Harrison, the hero, twice as NC State wins at 82-80. Both teams 3 and 6 in the league now. Off to Conference USA and the house that Keith Lee built. North Carolina, Charlotte, and Memphis. Delonte Hill driving inside, tying the game for the 49ers at 70 on the inbound pass. 0.9 to go. Keldrick Medford, see the 3. B, the 3. The Tigers win it. We need to check it out again, and here comes Bradford. Low, live, getting it done. Memphis wins at 73-70, both 7-1 in Conference USA, and they lead their respective divisions. In the Ivy League, Princeton, a 58-45 winner over Columbia. Brian Earl, 21 points. He was 8 of 11 from the floor, 5 of 7 from behind the arc. This one night after his 4th scoreless game of his career. Said, Earl, I missed scoring. A sad song sung by many.
At the Sundome in Tampa, the Bulls hosting number 23 FSU. South Florida's Brian Lamb makes the second free throw. South Florida up 70-68. Back comes Florida State. Kerry Thompson for the win. Oliver Simmons, the putback, won't go, and Seth Greenberg in South Florida can celebrate.
And I told him at halftime, I said, you know what, guys? You continue to compete, you continue to play hard, you continue to execute. You're going to be up all night tonight because you're going to continue to watch SportsCenter, and you're going to see that damn win over and over and over again.
If you have a tape machine, that's the only time we're going to show it, Seth, although the show does replay at some points. Even with the loss, the Seminoles hold a 2-1 advantage overall in the 27-game series. In the Atlantic 10, Temple played without point guard Pepe Sanchez. They turned it over 14 times and lose to Xavier despite coming back from a 12-point deficit to lead at one point. SEC, only 2 ranked teams in action in the conference on Saturday. Number 12, Ole Miss, struggling at Auburn. Freshman Jason Flanagan hits the 3 with half a minute left. Ole Miss up by 1. Could Auburn answer? Doc Robinson way outside, got the 3 and the lead. Last chance for the Reds, it's Keith Carter. Down a point, they decide to go for the 3, but it rattles off the rim, and the Rebs go down. 68-67 Tigers. Number 15 Arkansas with another tough game against Mississippi State. Pat Bradley gives it up. Rejected by Trey Moore. Art Heisch. That's knocked out of there. Heisch goes off the front of the rim, and then there's no time left. Arkansas barely survives. 18-3 overall, 7-1.
Little wrap, as we like to call it. Minnesota and Indiana in the Big Ten. Andre Patterson out of Bob Knight's doghouse, and A.J. Guyton won't be in there much himself. One of his 5 triples. Indiana up early, and then the Gophers. Oh, the referee says, you know, Clem, my day would be much more pleasant if you were not here. 4 minutes in, Clem's gone. See you later. 95-82 the final. Gophers 2-7 in the Big Ten. Indiana 2 games behind Michigan State for the lead. Still in the Big Ten, Illinois and Penn State. Nice D by Jerry Hester. Thank you very much. Ryan Kruger's crew getting it done. But the star of the day was Kevin Turner. A little behind his back. 2 of his 26, Illini. 6-point winner. They're 7-2 in the Big Ten. In the Big East, Notre Dame and Red Hot St. John's. There's John Franco, St. John's alum. And you know what? Johnny's could have used a closer. Keith Friel hits the leaner. Friel, 4 threes. The reigning Big East player of the year, Pat Garrity. He had 23. Friel, off balance. Irish by 9. This is part of an 11-1 Notre Dame run late. Friel hitting it again. Should have gone to the closer quicker, as the Irish win at 73-65. Miami and Nova. Kevin Norris, Stevie Frazier. Leaves it for Tim James. Up and over. Yum will be there. James had 19. Miami down 2 late in the second half. Mike Dawson blocked by Brian Lynch. He'll look up, keep his head up. The streaking Howard Brown. Nova wins again, starting to play better. 6-5 in the Big East, 78-75 the final.